This is the Build Zone podcast.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Welcome to episode 134 of the Build Zone podcast. My name is Allison Jackson. Over there is Mike Maloney. This week we have the Rowley Agency as our presenting partner and Bald Hill Builders as our lightning round sponsor. Mike, tell us about our sponsors, our partners, our supporters today.
Awesome. We are excited to have Eric Horner and the Rowley Agency back with us one more week here. And like we usually do, we reached into the LinkedIn bucket here, and he did post something a few weeks ago about how technology helps win the day for efficient production, safety, and litigation avoidance. He went on the job site, and Torromeo Industries has invested in load and go spray wash systems to prevent potential injuries from drivers having to climb on and wash their mixes after each delivery. They've invested in state-of-the-art dash cams to help protect the professional drivers from faulty allegations of poor driving and potential staged accidents. Way to go, Torromeo. So Eric Horner out there on the job site visiting clients, which is fantastic. And we're excited to have Bald Hill Builders back with us one more month here. They are a woman-owned and operated commercial general contracting and construction management firm located in Greater Boston. They serve Massachusetts and the surrounding states. Their services include pre-construction, construction management, general contracting, and design build construction. They service clients in the following sectors: planned communities, commercial spaces, institutional, and hospitality. And we're excited to have them on board with us for another couple of weeks here. It is the summertime here, and we are excited to be talking about the Olympics in the office. And what I wanted to go over with Allison was kind of some fact or crap with our Olympic knowledge here. I'm going to give a sport, and Allison's going to tell me if it's fact or crap.
A sport, right? Like if it exists in the Olympics?
Correct. Yep.
Okay.
Is it an Olympic sport this year at the 2024 Paris Olympics?
Okay.
Right. Starting with baseball. Fact or crap, is that an Olympic event? Baseball.
Yes.
You're saying that's fact?
That's a fact.
That is actually crap.
What? I feel like they've had baseball before.
They have had it before, yes, but it was removed a couple of years ago. They do not participate because they have the World Baseball Classic. So baseball and softball is not.
Oh.
How about badminton? Badminton.
That has to be. That's a fact.
That is a fact. Correct. Badminton is an Olympic sport. If you've never seen Olympic badminton, it is crazy. They sometimes, I read something yesterday, they sometimes volley back and forth over 50 times. And the competitors are known to run 6K sometimes. That's how far they run back and forth with badminton. It's crazy, fast-paced sport. Incredibly crazy.
Lots of
what about 3-on-3 basketball? Is that an Olympic sport?
This feels like a trick question because basketball's in there for sure, but is it 3-on-3? No, I think it's a regular 5-on-5. That's how many is in a basketball.
You're saying it's crap. It is actually fact. They do regular basketball and 3-on-3 basketball, which kind of adds a little level.
So that's a half point.
Half point. How about breakdancing?
That's in there. Oh, I saw that. That's in there this year. And I need to go. I didn't see the competition, but I saw on the news that breakdancing has been added, and I need to see that personally.
And a couple more here. What about let's see, BMX racing? Is that a Olympic sport in Paris this year?
I'm gonna say no. I'm gonna say crap.
Crap. It is actually a fact.
BMX
racing and BMX freestyle is both events at the 2024 Olympics. Let's see a couple more. How about golf? Is golf an Olympic sport?
Yes. Fact. It's gotta be. Come on. The athleticism. I'm a golfer myself. So.
Let's see. What about trampoline?
Trampoline? Like what? Like flips? Like they're doing like flips and air, but that feels like gymnastics, doesn't it? Like, no, I'm gonna say no. That sounds crazy.
You're saying crap is actually a fact. Trampoline is
What do
They do
they
fence.
do?
They're flipping and spinning, and they gotta do tucks and rolls and pikes. They gotta land in the center of the trampoline. I looked it up last night. I didn't know much about it.
That feels
Uh,
like a gymnastics, like that feels like it should be in the gymnastics section competition.
you think so, right? But it's totally separate thing. All right,
Interesting.
now you've heard of the triathlon. Can you name the three sports in the triathlon? What do the athletes have to do?
Running, swimming, biking.
Can you name the one, two, three, five? Let me get to the link here. Can you name the five sports in the
Oh,
pentathlon?
oh, okay. Put my hair back for this. Archery is one. Yes?
Archery. I don't believe archery is
What? Okay, never mind. Forget I said that. So it's gotta still be running, swimming, biking. Those are in there, yes?
uh there is no biking.
No bike. So running, swimming, kayaking.
There is a running, but it's did I lose you?
No, I'm here.
There is some running, but it's combined with something else.
Like hurdling.
Nope.
Running is combined with what? Crying? That would be me.
Running, yep, running and crying. Yep.
Crying
So
is
it's running and shooting. They've got to run, then they got to stop and shoot. They control their breathing. They shoot five targets at a distance of 10 meters.
okay.
Running and shooting. All right.
That's
What
where I
else?
was thinking the archery.
Yep.
Okay.
What are
Running,
the
archery. Not
more?
archery, shooting. Sorry.
Running and shooting is one event.
They definitely have to do like a million meter stroke or something like that.
Swimming is one of them. Yeah, it's a 200-meter freestyle swim, overhand
Yep.
swim. Yep. So you got swimming. So running and shooting is considered two, I guess, because you get scored on the shooting, you get scored on the running. What are the last? You got swimming, running, shooting. Got two
Oh,
more. What are they?
rowing? Like rowing?
Rowing is not one of them.
I'm trying to think of parts of the body. Like, what are they doing? Trampoline? Is trampoline and breakdancing part of this?
That'd
Like,
be pretty
what
cool.
sports are left? Do they go play a freaking soccer game? Like, what's going on?
So it starts with horse jumping show jumping courses. Yep. So they got to ride a horse, and they get the fastest time around the obstacles without any errors. The next is fencing, and they got to fence one another, right?
What?
Then they got to swim. Then they got to do running and shooting. Think about the old modern day, the old marathon, right? So the old Olympics was based on like warriors around the world. So if you had to ride and be able to use a sword, you may have to swim and then run and shoot, right?
Whoa.
So then the last one I'll ask you is the marathon. The Olympics is like 2,800 years old. It's been going on for a long time. But the modern Olympics, do you know the one event that's been in almost every Summer Olympics has been in almost every one since the beginning?
Okay, I have two in my head,
Okay,
and it's either shot put or javelin. Am I right?
that's a fantastic guess, but it's not correct.
Hmm. When they jump into the sand?
Another good guess. It's actually not a track and field event.
Interesting. What? Is it horse riding? Like the horse jumping?
Fantastic guess, but incorrect. It is actually fencing. It's,
Interesting. I guess it
all right,
does make sense because like jousting has always existed. Like,
modern day. Yep. So Olympics were based on, same thing, the run for marathon, right? It was warning about the incoming attacks, invaders. So that's our Olympic kind of factor crap for the week. Sticking with the Olympic training, because Olympians need to train. We're going to slide into training. Also, we have for trainings coming up.
did you think I froze?
I did for a second.
I didn't. Oh man, I just you can cut this part out, but I have to just get the trainings up. I totally forgot to get them. Um okay. So for trainings coming up in September, I'm going to skip ahead a little bit because we have a Hoist 1C2A continuing education on September 14th. Quick 1 day, get your CE, get in, get out. We have a sheet metal prep for exam the same day, September 14th. Short half day, get in, get the info you need for the test, and then go take it when you have it scheduled and pass it. Then we also have a pipe fitter prep for exam class. That's going to be a 2-day session, the 21st and 28th of September, both from 8 a.m. to 12 p.m. And finally, we have an OSHA 30-hour for construction coming up in December. That's going to be 1 week in December, the week of the 2nd, from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. each session. You can find all of these classes and the rest of what we have going on through December 2024 at gwgci.org/events.
And now time for the news. This week's news is brought to you by Energy Electrical Contractors of New England, Metro Walls, Veterans Development Group, Patriot Benefit Services. Thanks to them for sponsoring the newsletter. My newsletter real quick here. The newsletter comes out every week. That gets sent from the ABC folks. If you're not getting the newsletter, reach out to Carol at abcma.org. In the news this week, we have OSHA Safe and Sound Week. It's going to be August 12th through the 18th. OSHA has made a variety of resources available to mark Safe and Sound Week, including a social media kit. You can find that on the website or in the newsletter. The member profile this week is Medford Wellington Service Company. It's symbolic of a construction industry that has been radically transformed. It's a family-owned company that has a half a century of history behind it. Is now the business continuity company that offers commercial services and construction expertise to clients across New England. We love the relationship we have in Medford Wellington. I personally have been using Medford Wellington to clean my ice machines in another life, so they were always been around. We're looking for veterans that work for ABC Massachusetts companies. If you have a veteran that works for you and you want us to include them in the communications about the Veterans Committee and the Veterans Group, you can reach out to me, Mike at gwgci.org. There is a survey they can fill out in the newsletter. Coming events, we've got the last blast of summer taking place down at the Cove and Fall River, August 29th from 4 to 7. It's a beautiful venue. It's a great spot to be at. It's right on the. There'll be over 100 people in attendance. So if you would like to come and meet some other ABC Massachusetts members, reach out to Carol. She can get you on the list. Google Construction Institute update. We are proud to offer now plumbing classes in Taunton and Borica. We've heard our members. GCI is listening to people, and they had asked us to put together some plumbing classes, and we're doing that. We've got a teacher in Taunton. We got 2 teachers in Taunton, and we got a teacher in Borica. So if you're looking to send your plumbers, send them to GCI. We can help fill those educational hours. And let's see here. Callahan Construction selected to oversee Lee Fort Terrace affordable housing redevelopment. Congratulations to them. They were selected to manage the ground-up reconstruction of the Lee Fort Terrace affordable housing complex in Salem. Provide both existing and future residents with access to eco-friendly affordable apartments that will also be passive house certified and 100% electric and solar powered. And as always, if you want to be on the podcast, reach out to me, Mike at gwgci.org.
Mike,
this week's
should we share? We have a little bit of a sad announcement today.
Oh yeah, you're right. I can't believe
We have to pour one out for a real one today.
For our listeners, we have a moment of silence for one of my chickens. I do have 4 chickens in the backyard. My oldest chicken, I call the Big Red, been there for almost 9 or 10 years. It sadly passed away yesterday.
I'm getting a little emotional. I'm like very sad about this, actually.
The bird, man. She has not been well the past couple of weeks. She did break her leg, and we try to keep her comfortable and made her, try to keep her comfortable. She was able to get in and out of the coop and in the run, and I was trying to give her special attention and give her some special food and water and take care of her. But sometimes chickens, that's what happens. But I'm with a Big Red. If I can find a picture, I'll put up here over here somewhere. Chicken, Big Red. So rest in peace, Big Red. There's still 3 left down there. I've got
Didn't expect to tear up.
She was a good chicken. She was 9 or 10 years old. Been around for a long time. She was a fighter. She was out there by herself for a couple of winters. The poor thing. They're social birds. They need, she was the boss. She was the boss chicken. So she didn't need anybody. She was an awesome bird. If I called her, she came to me. If I whistled for her, she would come. And this is my wife's project, these birds, and they ended up being mine. So rest in peace, Big Red. We got 3 left. I got Big Brown down there. Will take her place. And then the twins. I got 2 white silky chickens, Ethel and I don't have names for them. They're just two white birds. And then this week, I got my other kid coming up here. Podcast. Hey, Johnny, want to be on the podcast, John?
Hi.
Hey.
A guest this week.
Um, this week on the podcast, we have Corey Heaslip, Vice President from Delphi Construction. He's a new ABC Massachusetts member. It was great to talk to him. Great experience, just hearing his story coming up from he started as a laborer at this company, sweeping floors, to a carpenter, and made his way up through all the different positions to end up being the vice president. Listeners, we're excited this week to have on with us Corey Heaslip, the Vice President of Project Development for Delphi Construction. Corey, welcome to the podcast.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
We've been waiting for this one for a long time because it took us a few months to get John here because we know you're busy, but we wanted to welcome you to ABC Massachusetts and we welcome you to the podcast. So for those people that don't know who you are, tell us a little bit about yourself and how you came to work for Delphi.
Sure. So my story might be a little bit unorthodox. I didn't grow up in a construction family. I didn't go to school for construction. I had a friend, Keith Shaw, who's Delphi's president, and he had a small remodeling business. And he was looking for a laborer. And so I literally started sweeping the floors working for Keith. And I worked for him as a carpenter, grew into that, loved the carpentry trade. I loved learning. I loved being able to apply that at home or doing side work for friends, people I knew. And so that was kind of the path that I thought I would go on. And in 2007, Keith had worked for Delphi before as a super. And as they expanded their footprint and started to do work on Cape Cod, they reached back out to him and said, "Hey, would you like to lead this down on the Cape?" And he thought about it and said, "Sure." And we kind of all went with him. So in 2007, I started out with Delphi as a carpenter and worked my way into different positions. I pretty much had every operations side position in the company, from carpenter, assistant super, made the switch over to project management as an APM, and then PM, senior PM, PX, and been in the vice president role in one shape or another for the last 4 years.
So, and it's great you said that, you took that, you're here because of a more unorthodox way to do it, right? I'm sure there's most people in that world don't start sweeping floors and now the vice president. So, when someone out there says, "I just want a shot. I just want to give me a chance," well, you know what that's like. That's actually pretty fantastic.
Yeah.
What do you miss the most about kind of being that carpenter, in the field type of thing? What do you miss the most?
Definitely, that's an easy one. Looking at what you did at the end of the day and knowing that you created something or you completed something that wasn't there. It's a tangible product at the end. And when I made the switch over to project management, somebody gave me some really good advice and said, "There's no finish line. Like, you don't get that milestone achievement. Maybe if you're on one job, you get to that point where you're substantially complete or you have final payment or something like that. But there's always you're just on this revolving wheel on the office side." And I think that's one of the benefits of being in the field. But I definitely miss that. So that's what I use my weekends for, is like doing work around my house or taking pride in some project, helping out a friend.
Someone's like, "Oh, can you come build me some cabinets or build me some shelves?"
Yeah.
And like, man, I just got done work. I don't want to go do it again, but that's something you truly love, right?
Yeah.
I wish I had a bigger space in my house. I'm not much of a carpenter, but I would love to be able to do stuff like that. It's definitely an art. There's a skill to that. There's an art to that. Definitely 100%. So of all the projects, maybe some of the stuff that Delphi's working on, what are you guys, most proud of that's going on right now?
Yeah, so we doubled down on the whole passive house VS certification several years ago, and I'm really proud that we are currently, I think this is still true right now, that we're the only Massachusetts general contractor that has multiple multifamily projects that have received their final certification from VS. A lot of times you'll hear about this as VS design certified, but to get the final certification at the end of the job, it's a binary pass fail. And so up until recently, I think there's one other company that may have gotten their second one, but we have 3 under our belt right now, with 4 more that should get their final certification by the end of this year, and a few more that are under construction right now. So That was something that we were advised by some of our clients to lean into. Julie Klump over at POA was advocating for us to do that. So I took that certification course, and as coming from the carpentry background, when I took it, I was like, "Oh no, we're screwed! Like there's no hope." But I was happy to on our first project, we really leaned into that, tried to figure out how do we make sure that we hit this. We had great design partners. We had really good consultants that POA had hired. And we were able to get it on our first try. We had another project going on with a different design firm and different client. And what I loved about it was it's such a collaborative approach. You can't do it with just one. It's not just Delphi. It took our trade partners really investing in it, took the consultants being really engaged and available, and the client understanding like this is an evolving process that we're going to figure out. And so we were able to do it on small buildings, big buildings, podiums. And the other design team for the job we were doing in Lawrence was Abacus Partners and Bill Beam and Lawrence Community Works. And to see our two supers, the lead supers for both projects, calling each other and saying, "Hey, we ran into this issue. You want to watch out for this," or "Hey, make sure when you're doing this that you make sure to follow this detail." That was just great. I think that whole like the FIAS landscape you're seeing, I'm sure you're hearing more people talk about it. And so to be considered a leader by FIAS in that sphere is really something I'm proud of. And it really took our whole organization really jumping into that.
And
Uh,
for those that don't know what the FIAS certification is, what does that entail? What is that all about?
Yeah, so the great question. So might not be able to remember them all, but super insulated, thermal bridge free, high performing windows and doors. I forget what the fourth key ingredient there, but basically you're trying to make the most responsibly built building that's going to use as little energy to heat and cool it, and it's also going to have high quality indoor air quality. And so when you think about that, it's like, oh, that's a great ideal. And a lot of times solar is a large component of it. And so you think that that's great, but it really comes down to the trade partners effectively executing that work. And when I was taking the class, I was thinking we're relying on the drywallers and the concrete form guys and the insulators to not just be installers that day, but to become technicians and to really care about every square inch that they're working. A lot of those guys are piece workers. And so they don't have to just think about the piece that they're installing, but they have to think about how it affects the entire enclosure, the envelope, heating and cooling. So we're asking, these plumbers and HVAC techs and electricians to not just go and blow a hole through the wall because that's where their conduit's going to go or that's where their pipe has to drain out, but to talk to our supers, coordinate all of that stuff to a greater level than I had seen previously. I think that the industry had seen previously. But I'm happy to say that the trade partners that we've been working with, they've been lights out. They've been really, really good at that.
It's crazy, excuse me, how far the building construction technology has come, right? 100 years ago,
Oh,
there was,
yeah.
you know, throw up some 2x4s and some windows, right? And there's no,
Yeah.
my house was built in 48, right? There's no insulation in it. There's like
Yes.
living in a refrigerator. Now
Yeah.
you've got everything so well insulated. You can't hear anything outside. Air quality is great. It's efficient. It's not burning a lot of, whether it be fossil fuels or the decarbonization like we talked about last week with the guys from HTS and DXS. Do you see the FIAS certification kind of growing, do you think? Do you think more and more people are going to start doing that?
Oh, yeah, definitely. And that's why I'm really thankful to like Julie Klumpo I mentioned saying like, hey, you guys should invest in this because I felt like the if we hadn't gotten on the train when we did, that would be miles down the track right now. We'd be trying to catch up. And we see it on I'd say probably 95% of the bid invites that we receive, or if we do a lot of negotiated work with clients. So they're getting their funding with that being part of the package. And so the state that's part of their plan is to greenlight more of these types of projects. And all of that state and federal money being geared towards this. So I definitely see it happening more and more. And the energy code is not too far behind from where passive was a few years ago. So it's whether people like it or don't, this is the direction that it's going in.
Right. And it's just better overall for the environment and for everything. Like you got a house that's more efficient, not spending as much money on to keep it cool or to heat up.
Yeah.
That's all great stuff. One of the things we talked about before we record was some of your back to your project bidding days. One of the things you talked about was, when people say to you, "Oh, you guys don't choose us or pick us for the bids," what are some advice you would give a company, that maybe isn't winning the bids as often?
Yeah, sure. And so from my background with being a project manager, being the guy that's awarding the work, we don't have central purchasing at Delphi. We allow the project executive and project manager to interview the subs that have bid to us and trade partners that have bid to us and make their selection and then report back to the estimating team of who they've chosen. So there's a level of accountability between estimating and project management that they can't just go and pick their favorite guys. They have to make sure they're spreading the work around. And so with my role, as I switched over to being the VP of project development, and I oversee the estimating and pre-con teams, I wanted to look at the numbers and say, well, I keep hearing like, oh, this guy doesn't want to bid to us because he says he never gets any work. And so I started looking into it. Some of the people that were saying that, I'm like, we have a contract with them right now for work that they're doing. So I don't know why they're saying that to you. And then I looked at the numbers too, and started doing some data research in 23. So I looked back in 2022. 30% of our subcontracts were issued to new trade partners that started working for us in 2021 or 2022. And then moving forward in 23, I did the same thing. We had 17% went to new trade partners in just that year, but 38% of our subcontracts went to new trade partners since 21. And in 24, 30% have been issued to new trade partners in 24, and 46 of the subcontracts are to new trade partners since 21. So what's great about that is we tried out new people that we hadn't worked with, and they tried us out too. And then they came back for more. And we really take our project site seriously. We hear often from the trade partners that they want to work on our job sites. They prefer working for us. And I think that's a great compliment to hear. That's the goal. And we want to make sure when they show up that we're ready for them, that our supers are ready for them, that the sites are clean, that they're organized. And I say to the trade partners that our goal is to make sure that you make money working for us. We want to make sure that you're profitable because we want that preference. When you get a bid invite from us or one of our competitors, we want to know that you want to come and work for us. And if you've had a bad experience working for us, we want to hear about that so we can figure out if that's something that we need to change. And so we take our kickoffs really seriously. When we're doing our buyout, there's negotiation between the project manager and the trade partners project manager about what scope's included and what the cost is and all that. But then 3 weeks before they start work on the site, they're out in the trailer with their project manager, their foreman, our super, our project manager, our project executive, going through the scope, making sure we understand when deliveries are coming in, what the schedule is, what the duration is, what they need from us to be successful, because we know it's a partnership and it's not hierarchical like I think it used to be. It's more we want to make sure they're successful because they're going to make us successful.
So if you're listening, Delphi likes to work with new people, and they enjoy people coming back to keep work from them. That's great news.
Exactly.
So think back to your days, I guess, when you were, again, being a laborer, a carpenter. What is some advice you would give to someone who's maybe was in the same boat and wants to, stay in the trades, but, wants to go a different direction instead of being out in the field?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think surround yourself with good people. Try to find a place where hopefully you're at a place where there's opportunity for you, and don't be afraid to let it be known that you want a shot. A lot of my opportunities came like sink or swim. And, it was kind of a trial by fire. And I think we do a better job now with training and development. Well, I know we do a better job now with training and development, but I was always like raising my hand for that next opportunity. Like I want more, I want more. My motivation was really trying to provide for my family. But I look at that as when you see someone that I've heard this attributed to a couple of different books, so I don't know which one it actually was, but the three key ingredients are hungry, humble, and smart. So you want someone that's motivated, they want more, they're humble, they're not looking to be the one that's always getting the recognition, but they know that consistency compounds. So just continue working and you'll get recognized. And smart. You got to have a certain level of intelligence to be successful. But when you see those three key ingredients in someone, like that's someone that you invest in. So I would say like advocate for yourself, be open to change and difficult circumstances. Recognize that adversity in a situation can be a good thing. That'll really help you develop. I think that was part of when I look back, when we do when someone's newly hired and we're doing our onboarding, I do the Delphi history because I want to tell people my story in the Delphi story.
I think it's great
to say like, hey, where you go in this company is really up to you. And if you're motivated and you're willing to work hard, and you can push through adversity, you're going to be really successful. And so I like to tell that story. And then we also have a Delphi 101 to just tell a little bit of the executive team story and what our mission, vision, values are. And I tell the stories of when I was a super, driving to the job site, white knuckles on my steering wheel, stressed to the max. And I really think being a super is one of the most challenging jobs in the industry that we have, because there's so many things competing for your attention all day long. And then moving over to project management and waking up at 3 a.m. because I'm stressed out and I'm sending emails at 3 o'clock in the morning and figuring out what do I need to change about myself and how do I do a better job with being a project manager, but also how do I take care of myself in the process so I'm not losing my mind.
There's so many people, right, that don't get the hunger part, right?
Right.
Many people just think, I went to school, I'm going to go to Delphi, I'm going to make 200,000, I want to work 9 to 5, right? Get up at 3 a.m. and send emails. That's not, no, I'm not, no, I don't start until, I don't get to bed till 8:30. I get to work at 9. So you want me there at 3 a.m. and send emails, you better pay me more money. It's like, well, wait a second, or I went to school, I'm ready to be a superintendent. Well, you haven't done anything in the field yet. You don't know anything what's going on.
Right.
So many people don't have the hunger, and the humble, like you said, kind of goes together. They're like, I went to school. I know what I'm doing. Well, you don't have the field hours that you need, right? Because you don't just want to show up on the job site like, yeah, listen, I graduated college X yesterday. I'm the boss today. And they're like, well, wait a minute. You don't know anything about what's going on in the field. So your experience is great, and I think it's great that if you tell new hires that when they're coming on the company, they say, wow, geez, this guy, he started sweeping floors. Now he's vice president. I think it's a fantastic story. And it's something that a lot of people can look up to and aspire to be and shoot for. So that's good. That's pretty awesome. Of all the current jobs you guys are currently working on, is there one project that you haven't yet worked on that you yourself would like to be part of?
Project type or
Yeah, I guess so. I know you guys do some multifamily. Is there anything else out there that you would like to do?
Yeah. So we're busy with multifamily, affordable market rate. We have some education projects that are wrapping up and some that are getting started. We have some healthcare projects that are wrapping up and getting started. And a public project. We don't do a ton of public work, but we usually have 1 or 2 going on in our Cape office at a time. And so that's a library down in Swansea that we're building. In terms of sectors, we're about to do another country club. So we have some of those on our resume. We'd love to do more of that, like kind of lifestyle project like that. And industrial as well. We have one industrial project for a long-term client that we're doing in Newton right now. It's going really well. And it's just a little bit different than the type of stuff that we do with our multifamily clients. But that team is really solid and we're enjoying that type of work. So we'd love to do more. I think in that space, the multifamily is a large part of our business, and especially the way the economy is and the need for housing. Like, I'm really glad that we've been in that space for the length of time that we have. And for the clients and the book of business that we have in that space. And education and healthcare have been, part of our roots since the very beginning of Delphi. I think we tend to work really well with mission-minded folks. That's one thing that, as we were going through our mission, vision, values, is when we're working with a nonprofit, like a lot of the housing folks that we work with, or the healthcare facilities or the education facilities, they're really working for the disadvantaged. And we're looking at that as a way to, how do we take our expertise in what we do and not just build buildings? Like, that's satisfying, but when you put in that mission minded part of it too, I mean, that's like some of the most gratifying work.
That's amazing. All right, that's our friend Corey from Delphi Construction. Corey, if anybody wanted to get a hold of you, how could they do that?
So my email address is the letter C as in Corey, and then Heaslip, which is HEAS as in Sam, LIP as in Peter, at delphiconstruction.com. And if that's too long, info@delphiconstruction.com is easy to remember, and just shoot an email there, put my name in the subject, and that'll get sent to me, and I'd be happy to reach back out to you.
And he's on LinkedIn as well. So if you reach out
Yes.
to LinkedIn, he does respond.
Yes.
Okay, so that comes my favorite part of the podcast. It is the lightning round. Put some lightning sound effects in here. First question is going to be, what is your most used emoji?
I think a thumbs up.
Thumbs up. That's a good one. Yep. Let's see here. If you were left on a deserted island with either your worst enemy or no one, which would you choose and why?
I think worst enemy, because I like to figure out how to resolve conflict. That's one of my favorite things. So
that's a great one. What is your favorite sandwich and why?
Oh, that's an Italian sandwich. I like to try those out, and hots and oil and vinegar. So yeah,
Italian sandwich for dinner.
heartburn special right there.
Oh, I love it. What is your favorite item you've bought this year?
Oh, I don't buy a lot of things.
Yeah, me neither.
We went on a really great vacation to Spain and Italy, so that was a big purchase. So I'm going to count that as a thing. Yeah,
that's great. That's fantastic. What fictional family would you be a member of?
I'm embarrassed to say, but I watched a lot of Full House when I was growing up. So
that's all right. Yeah,
that would be my first go-to.
Yeah. I mean, who wouldn't want to hang out with Uncle Joey, right?
Right.
Uncle Joey, right? Uncle Jesse, right? Who would want to do that? What sport would you compete in if you were in the Olympics?
I am terribly uncoordinated, and running is really the only thing that I can do. So I would love to be an Olympic marathoner.
Oof. Imagine that's an amazing race
painful.
to run in and then win, right? Would be fantastic. Would you rather be able to teleport or fly?
I think teleporting.
Are you a coffee or tea drinker?
Oh, coffee all the way.
Are you a dog or cat person?
I am newly a cat person. We just got a cat 6 months ago. I was not a cat person at all, but we have a cat that acts like a dog and a dog that acts like a cat. So,
wow. Yeah, something's going on in that house. Something's in the air in there. If you had a time machine, would you go back in time or into the future, and where would you go?
I'd go back in time. I think I think the 50s has been really idealized, and so I'd sort of like Back to the Future. That'd be where I'd go. I don't want to go into the future. I'm not really sure what it's going to look like.
Yeah, I like the Back to the Future thing. I like that idea. That's a great idea. Favorite meal to cook and why?
I eat a lot of eggs, so I'm just going to keep it simple and say breakfast.
All right, that's great. If you could have an unlimited supply of one thing for the rest of your life, would you rather have sushi or Scotch tape?
I do like sushi, so I'd go sushi.
All right. All right. And the last question we always ask people is, there's a food fight tonight at the Heaslip house. What is your weapon of choice? And you cannot say spaghetti.
Spaghetti. Something that's got to saturate. I think we eat a lot of Indian food too, so I think I might go with like chicken korma or something like that.
That would be messy. Very messy. Some people are funny. They pick a messy thing, or something. I don't want to pick up the mess, but you want the messy thing. That's awesome. Fantastic. That's our friend Corey, Delphi Construction. Corey, thanks for coming on. Appreciate it. If anybody has any questions, you can reach right out to Corey. Thanks again.
Yeah. Thanks for having me.